True Peace Kens. This is an international price comparison between drug prescriptions in the United States, man. Keep the slang though. The United States spend more on prescription drugs on a per capita basis than most other countries do. Understanding the extent to which drug prices are higher in the United States than other countries, after accounting for differences in the volume and mix of drugs, is useful when developing and targeting policies to address both growth in drug spending and the financial impact of prescription drugs on consumers. Although several prior studies systematically compared drug prices in the United States with those in other countries, the most recent of these studies use data that are almost a decade old. This report summarizes findings related to international prescription drug price comparisons presented in prior studies and presents new price comparisons that are based on 2018 data, both overall results and narrow analysis on specific categories of drugs such as brand name, originator drugs, unbranded generic drugs, biologics, and non-biologic drugs. The report also presents results from sensitivity analysis using different methodological steps and assumptions such as prices and volume aggregated at different levels and volume weights calculated in different ways. The findings indicate that 2018 drug prices in the United States were substantially higher than those in each of 32 comparison countries when considering all drugs together. Compared with all comparison countries combined, U.S. prices were 256% of those in other countries. Prices remain substantially higher than prices in other countries, but with a similar differences than in our main results when we adjusted U.S. prices downward based on published estimates of the related differences between manufacturer and net prices for drugs. U.S. prices for most subset of drugs and particularly brand name originated drugs were higher than those in comparison countries. The one exception was unbranded generic drugs, for which U.S. prices were on average 84% of those in other countries. Key findings: policy discussion surrounding U.S. prescription drug prices is focused on whether prices in the United States are too high or appropriate related to the benefits that they offer to patients. Systematic comparison of drug prices among countries are based on data from a broad set of drugs, and unlike comparison of drug spending among countries, they focus narrowly on differences in prices absent in the influence of different volumes and mixes of drugs. Prices indexes are an effective way to focus on prices alone without the risk of interferences from other variables, in this case, differences in drug volume, share, or mix. Calculations in this report are based on 2018 data comparing prescription drug prices in the United States with those in 32 comparison countries. Along with overall price comparison, researchers focus on subset of brand name originated drugs, unbranded generic drugs, biologics, and non-biologic drugs. Prices in the United States are very higher than those in all comparison countries. U.S. prices were 250% of those in the 32 comparison countries combined. In comparison with the individual country, U.S. prices range from 170% of prices in Mexico to 779% of prices in Turkey. The gap between U.S. prices and prices in other countries was larger for brand name originated drugs. U.S. prices were 84% of prices in all non-U.S. countries for unbranded generics. U.S. prices were 190% of prices in other countries after adjusting U.S. prices downward to account for rebates and other discounts. Peep the slang, man.